Alright guys, we should be ready and streaming. Can you let me know in the comments? Hey! Hi Solveig. Okay, I have a sound feedback now, so I think it's okay. Image quality, please. Doesn't sound really... so... I have a good flow. There is always a bit of lag between what I see and what you should. Lags. Okay. So hopefully justice that will be okay. I mean, there might be a little difference between the sound and the picture. I don't really know how to fix this for the time being. Need to watch more tutorials. So I will start right now. So I believe, and I hope you can see my screen now, to do a run cycle for this lovely spider here. I've been working on for a year now, so I've been mainly working on and creatures. Okay, and in this case I'll be working on this lovely green spider. Okay, so I will... oh, it's basically done. Poly mesh, as you can see. Alright. Rigged it. So I have here my deformation bones. It's a pretty simple rig, and that's perfect for this first streaming, let's say. And then here I have my controller bones and MCH, we don't care. Alright. So one thing here, I'm using the bone layer management add-on so that I can name the bone layers here. And I've also written a script. So what I've done is that I've just picked a part of the Rigify script, as I don't know how to script, but there are some parts that are quite easy to read. So here, just to have a specific UI, it's very short, as you can see. So I will run it. View, and now I have those buttons that will allow me to display the part of the rig I want. So, and as you can see, the rig is very simple. I've also added a modifier onto the spider here that allow me to display whether the legs or the body, and that's gonna be during animation. So we'll get back to this. And finally, for the rig, I've already recorded some actions. I have an action called keying. Oh, voice modulation. I don't think I'm using voice modulation. Can you let me know if the sounds is good for you? Don't have any voice filter also? No, I don't think so. Okay, I will continue on. Just let me know if you have any trouble understanding what I'm saying. So here I have already made require. It's working for me. I have a signal here. So here I have my rig, and I've already recorded one action, which is a keying set. So basically I've just about the sound. I will try to fix this, but I really don't know what's the problem. Down the volume. I know yesterday I had some trouble with this microphone, but I'm using it pretty oftenly, so if it's OBS also that in self-exam. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's get back to this. An action. So in the dope sheet here, you can switch to dope sheet or action editor. Action editor will allow you to work on a single action, and this is what creating only one object, which is the spider here, and currently it's rig. I have created a keying set, and I've made a fake user so that I'm sure I won't be losing it. And what I've done here is that I've just recorded the key. I can then use a sure Blender won't be recording and keying, for example, rotation and scale for this bone. If I start the auto recording here and get rid of the filtering, the leg, you can see is reading me those keys, and I don't want to play with rotation because whenever I try to rotate, nothing happens. Those are useless and they will pollute my scene here, and that will be really a problem with the graph editor. You need to check everything then. So I will get rid of those keys. Oops. And I will start filtering. Okay. So I will create a new action. Give it a relevant name, like run cycle. Start and ending frame to 24. So with a rhythm of 30 frames per pace rate we are using in the game. So the game, the animation will be run in 30 frames per second as a reason, because at 24 it was a bit not wanted, so we have balance. So generally when you start animating something, sorry, in the case of a run cycle, that will stop at 24. This is something I've already experienced, so I know I will work on 24 frames. Sometimes you just try 30 or so, and then you make it shorten to make the movement faster, for example. So generally you start by blocking the, but since it's a spider, that's quite complicated to know how the legs are going to move one. What I do when I have such a character is that I work with, I first work creating the full cycle for one leg, then the others, then I mirror it, and then those leg cycles I just offset them so that we have this nice movement and offset movement, and then I go working on the body. this is very specific to this kind of animation. So I will very soon work with curves and stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry about the sound. I don't know what to do. I mean, in OBS that looks great, just the flow, but my internet flow says it's perfect. So maybe it's the problem of with exactly sounds that. Let me check rapidly, but I don't know. Sounds like this. Okay. That. Okay, seems there is a little, might be a little solution. No, I don't have any enhancement or stuff like this. Okay. Ooh, on USB. Can you believe this? A good idea right now. Okay, let me give me a few seconds. Sorry about that. I will just check it rapidly. Alright, sounds should be back. So let me know if there is any enhancement. So as I told you, to get back in stuff, I'm really sorry. First streaming ever. I will mainly work on the legs first, and I will just create yeah, it's back. Yeah, I know. Okay, sounds perfect. I don't know, maybe it's a matter of USB 3 and USB 2. Oh, great. Sounds good. Okay. Fantastic. And maybe it's also, I have a lot of wires behind the computer, so maybe there are some interactions here. Okay, everybody is happy about that. Okay, that's great. So, let's dive into it. So I will do a slight blocking stage. So this is a method. Generally, when you work on animation, you do a blocking, then you do your breakdown. So it means that you create the main poses of your character without really caring about the timing. Once you're done with it, you try to create the intermediate poses. So it will just help you to have something looking good and to have the right poses. That's more important than movement. Movement comes when you work on your timing. So in the first stage, you need to have very good poses, okay? So I will start blocking the legs. So what I will do is first get rid of the torso here, just get rid of the leg on one side, as we will mirror the animations. So we'll cut the work in half, and I will keep the body for the time being. So I have my auto cane here that is enabled, and I will work on the very first frame here. So one of the problem on this character and toward the IK I have is that if I move it from this stage here, the animation is not really good, because I feel like, I don't know how to say it in English, but the character seems to be like that, a bit compressed on itself. So I will slightly make the legs wider, like that. I will display the keys here so that you can see whenever I'm using a shortcut or so, and try to have a better pose here, basic pose. Maybe I can widen this a bit, and this also, okay? And now if I want to mirror the pose rapidly, I just have to select those bones, press Ctrl C to copy the pose, and Ctrl Shift V will mirror the pose as soon as you have good naming. So here you can see I have my .R for right and .L for left. So whenever I do a mirror copy, Blender understands this thing. Okay, so I'll be working first on the front leg. That may sound obvious. So I will place the most extreme pose for the leg, or at least the one I think will be the more extreme. So I have set stretching on the IK to avoid popping of the articulations. So I will just go near the popping here, and you can see that I will have to rotate the joint at a moment, I believe, to avoid to have too much clipping, but we'll see if it's necessary or not later. So I have my first pose here, and now I will set the second pose that will be the travel of the foot or the leg, I don't know, on the ground. So I will need to keep it consistent from the front leg and for the other legs. So they all have to make the same distance while they are on the ground in the same amount of time. So I have a 24 frame per second animation. So as we will have like 4 stages of movement, I will work 6 frame by 6 frames. So I will go to frame number 6, move it backward, something like this. I think should be decent, and it's auto-keying, and now I can see the movement here. But I will first work in constant, so I don't want to see the animation here, because that could be disturbing for me to see the animation while I'm not polishing it. So what I will do is that I will change the way the timing is working here, pressing the T key, and change the interpolation to constant. And what will happen is that nothing will change until we strike a new keyframe here. All right, so now I can go to frame 22 and go higher, not too high, because whenever you are creating a movement, you're trying to put the less effort possible in it, to be as efficient as possible. When you walk, people tend to lift the foot very high, while it's not true. When you are walking, your feet is just lifting as less as possible so that you save energy. I will just copy all those keys and to the frame 24. And to be able to read the loop correctly, I will set the n here to 23, because Blender, if you don't do so, Blender will read last frame and then first frame, while in some softwares it jumps to the frame before the last frame and go back to the first one, and this will create lag between the different poses. So the spider is lifting her leg here, and then I will go to frame 18th sorry about that, and I will just move it forward and slightly downward like this. So now I have my different stage. It looks quite nice. Okay. All right. Okay, so now I will do exactly the same thing with other leg. So I'm not yet offsetting the movement from the front view from right to left, because I don't know how the spider will behave. I think it will have some kind of splaining motion like this. Does that mean you export frame 0? No, I export frame 0 to 24 because when it's then exported in FBX, and you always need the very first frame and the very last frame to be exactly the same, so that whenever it's digested by any kind of softwares, the ending and starting point will be exactly the same and you will have a smooth transition. But in Blender, if you do so, he will read the first frame for, let's say, 0.1 second and the last frame for 0.1 second. So you will have the same position for 0.2 seconds, and you will have this slowdown acceleration, even if you align your curves, which I will do later on. So you will see it. We will reach splining very, very soon, because this is very basic animation. So I think that's gonna be clear for you. Bats. Oh, bats. Hi, bats. Remember you. Okay. Okay. So let's do the same for side leg. So currently what I will do is that I will animate all the legs in the same way, like a boat, you know, when you are doing this. I don't know how to say it in English, but I think I've mimicked it perfectly. So let's first reach the forward position here. So something like this. So that we have kind of, you see here the distance. I will try in rest pose between those two bones. I will try to have this quite the same here with something like this. Okay, cool. Then go to the next step. So what I do here is that I will just count how many graduation here we have between first pose here by placing the 3D cursor to the next one. (11.5) plus this one, plus half one, 12 graduation. So from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, somewhere here it should go. Oh, that's not the right foot. That should be this one. Sorry about that. 12. Okay, somewhere here. So let's go back. On this frame. All right. So now both legs move in the same distance. All right. Okay, so now I can lift this leg. So you have to imagine that you will lift the leg like this and go far. So this key should be somewhere like here. I will switch the color to pure red. Okay. Then acceleration and then impact. Okay, something like this, because you have time to leave the leg and to absorb the movement toward the back. You don't have to put the frame here. So let's put this frame here, maybe a little less higher. You can see it looks weird in this region. Okay, something like that. And next step, we are going somewhere here. And then when working on the curve, we'll be able to refine the timing here. So let's go down and let's see what it does. Okay. Yeah. Swimming spider. Okay. So let's do exactly the same here. Next frame is okay. First frame, let's go forward. So there is a very big gap between those two legs. I will keep it here. All right. Next frame, we have to go back for 12 graduation. Okay, somewhere here. There is no stretching here. It looks still cool, so that's fine for me. Next step, let's lift the leg a bit and then move forward. And I have to duplicate the first frame here and move them again. Okay, let's see how it looks. Yeah, looks fine. Maybe you see the third frame is really close to the very last, so we will have a slowing movement, which is not realistic. Whenever your foot is going to the ground, it's constantly accelerating until it touches the ground. So this frame here is not good. I will put it backward. Okay. And refine it with the curves. You will see that that's gonna be very easy, because I've been using curves really intensely, and you must do it. That's the way it works for a year now. And at the very beginning, I wasn't really understanding how they work. And since I have understood how they really work, I've also enhanced my reading. Because when you understand how curves works, you create your rig so that whenever you will be animating, so it may sound obvious, but for example, bone orientation is so important and we don't think about it. So you will see it later on when we start polishing this animation. So here for me is okay. Let's move this forward. Okay, something like this maybe. Yeah, it should be pretty close to this one. Yep. Okay. Hope I don't sound too boring. Do for Yekling. Namibo. Do for Yek. I'm not sure I get your point. If anybody can try to answer this. From Namibo. Do for Yekleg. Yekleg. Little stop before it must to move. So I don't know, a stop before it hit the ground or before it get off the ground. Maybe it will look better later on. Okay. And for the time being, we're just setting the base poses. Okay, so don't think about the timing right now. Okay, impact frame. Yeah, okay, I see. You will do an impact frame if you have a character with a lot of weight, which could be the case here. But that's quite hard to handle, and I won't be doing this during the blocking, and we'll see this mostly on the body, not on the foot. If you watch the foot of a very heavy character run cycle, the cycle will be perfectly clean. But yeah, there will be an offset between. Okay, I got your point, Namibo. So maybe you reached the streaming not at the very beginning. We will offset the movement of the different leg. Okay, for the time being, it looks like our spider is swimming also. Okay, so it doesn't look realistic at all, but it's just for me to be able to visualize the movement and create something, a relation between the legs that is correct, especially the movement on the ground. Then I will go into splining. I'm just focusing on the movement of each leg separately, and once I'm done with this, I will offset the movement and it will be crystal clear for you. Okay, so I will dive into splining immediately for the legs. So I will just get rid of the body by activating the mask here and invert it here. Okay, so now I just see the legs, sorry. I will select those frames and turn them to Bezier. Okay, so now I should have this movement like this. All right, and you can see that the timing on the ground is really too fast. Okay, so I can already offset this, maybe 8 frames. Yeah, it looks better like this. Okay. So the idea here is to focus, and that's quite hard, to focus only stop before the leg move again. Yeah, but that's not correct. When you are walking, you're in motion. When your foot hit the ground, compared to your torso, okay, the foot continue to move in a linear way, okay. And even if you are a very heavy character, where you will see this stop or this kind of effect, it's in the torso and the weight. So it will be your Z position currently. You will hit the ground and boosh, boosh, like this. But your foot will still be moving on the ground, okay? So, and also because here we are creating a static cycle. So maybe you could input this information when creating a real walking movement, but as it's for a game, I need to make the movement, the root bone currently, to be static, and then the translating movement of the whole character will be done into the game. Okay. So so what I will do, I will save this. I will just show you another spider character here, which is already running. So you let me know if it looks like what you are looking for. So we are going to do this currently. All right. Okay. So if you think this doesn't look right. Okay, I believe it's not perfect. I'm also in production. Okay, so I would like to spend more time on animation, but we have a budget and I need to make money. So for this kind of movement, etc., I try to set a certain time frame to do it. You can always enhance an animation. It's like all kind of art. It's never finished, but you must say, okay, I have a decent result. The character will be seen pretty far from the camera. It's not something really close. So, and I have a decent animation, so that's fine. And budget-wise, I earn enough money to live. Okay, the spider is cool too. Okay, thank you. So let's get back to our other spider. Okay, so I will go into the graph editor now here. All right, so graph editor, leg cycle here. Okay, and I will select everything, get rid of this, and press the dot key so that it frames the curves. So you can see that we don't have any movement on the X position, but we do have movement on the Y, which is our forward, and on our Z position here. Okay, so if I enable the axis of the bone, also I'm using this little arrow filter so that I can see only the curves from the selected bone, which is more in here, let's say. Okay, hey Razvan. So what you have to understand is that those curves are reflecting the position of the bones from its initial position, from its rest position. So even if I add rotation to it, I will rotate it on the z-axis. You may think now that the value on the y should go in this way, but this is not the case. Okay, the position, the location values, the rotation values are separated. They are not dependent one on each other. So once you've understood that and you want to make a good rigs, well, you will always try to set the position of your control bones align with the world position, because those are world position, local positions. So if they are aligned with the world, it's very easy for you to guess the position of and guess the movement while watching those curves. So let's start polishing in a way this. So if you have time, say 2 words in French. I don't want to. Bonjour à tous. Okay, 2 words. So here it's our ground animation. Okay, so it must be linear. Why? Because imagine you are running at a constant speed. It means that when your foot is hitting the ground, its position is on the ground is changing as fast as you are running. Okay, so that, because if you are accelerating, if you are starting to run, then you should have your foot moving faster and faster until you reach your constant running position. But here we are doing a run cycle, so we are supposing that the spider is running at a constant speed. So we need to input this constant speed. So this will be by making those here, this line straight. So we could change the interpolation to linear like this on those 2 frames, but the problem is that it also breaks here, and I don't like that. So I will switch back to Bezier, and I will convert those by pressing V to a vector. So what it does is that each point, each vector will point to the next one. So those two are aligned, but then I have this handle which is still free and I can move it. Yeah, there will be attack animation and stuff like this. Okay, so let me show you. I will get back to the other spider. So in this very streaming, I will be doing only one animation because animation takes time and I don't want to do 12 hours streaming. But I will show you. You can see here I have a list of animation. Let me show you another attack maybe. And display only render. Oh, sorry, the time frame is not good. Something like this. 2, 1. Okay. This kind of animation. So here it's a flying spider, something that we don't see every day, but okay. So this, to make this, it's a different method than what we are doing. So yeah, I plan to do other streaming where I show characters dying, characters fighting and stuff like this. So here she can die too. Let's kill it. Okay, ooh, doesn't look... It's really slow, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm recording at the same time. Might be a bit slow, but you see I have a bunch of animation to be done on those, so yeah, we'll do different things. But yeah, here I'm quite confident with this one. Okay, so let's do our boat stuff. By the way, okay. So we have the movement here on the ground, which is linear, okay? And whenever it will go back here, so first thing I don't like is that here you can see that whenever it reaches the end of the movement, it goes forward as soon as it get off the ground. And I like to have a slight backward movement, and this is due to our keying. You know, we have done a key here, so it will try to reach the key right now. So now that I'm working on curves, if it was a more complex movement, I may have done this using breakdowns, but as it's quite a simple movement, I can work on the curves directly. So the Y direction here, positive direction is here. So if I extend the curve toward the higher here, it should move backward. Okay, so let's do this. I will take this handle and rotate it like that. Okay, and scale it a bit. So now you see it curves toward the front. Okay, and now I would like this to run a little longer. So what I can do is just move this slightly higher like that. Okay, oh, sorry. Do you painting? Yes, sure. I do everything in Blender. Everything. All of my work is done in Blender. But I haven't created those models. They were created by Emmanuel Roof, which is the modeler artist in the team. On this project, I only do rigging and animation, which is a lot of work still. So let's see. We have this movement here, and I like it. You see the curve now is like that, which look nice to me when it leaves the ground. Okay. Another thing is that we have an acceleration toward the up, which is not really correct. When your foot will leave the ground, it's the moment it will have the most speed, so it should go on the Z direction slightly faster. I don't want to have this slowing acceleration, okay? So I will change here also the vector type of this keyframe by pressing V and switch to vector 2. Since here it's linear, I don't care about this part. But then here I can change, you see the acceleration. So if the value here is evolving slowly like this, the movement toward the up will be slow, while if I do something like that, it will get up really, really fast, which is not realistic too, but I think I could have something maybe more like that. Okay. And I think regarding the up position, maybe I could set it somewhere here, more the upper position. So I will slightly offset this key now. Yeah, okay. And now what I told you before is that when it will hit the ground, we don't want it to slow down like this. You see here, it's slowing down. So the curve should be something like that. Well, animation takes time. It really depends on the kind of character. I think if I will do this directly, I mean without streaming, explaining, etc., it will take me like an hour to do. But a character, one of the latest I've been working on, which is a character with 4 arms, took me like to make the run cycle maybe 3 hours, and some animation took me like 4 to 5 hours. But that's really the high end for this game, I mean, because there are animations that are so long you can spend hours and hours. I think for a movie, like a Disney movie or so, for one character they have an average production time of 1 hour of work for 1 second of animation for one character. So whenever there are interaction between several characters, that can be a mess. Okay, so we need to have this acceleration before it hits the ground here. So I will make this slightly upper like this. I will get rid of this keyframe here. Move this like that, and I will switch this to vector 2. Because we don't want this deceleration here. We want it to hit the ground pretty hard. And here I'm not even looking at my animation screen, I'm just looking at the curve. I know that I don't want this the S effect, this zigzag effect, and I want it to have the most acceleration before it touches the ground. So I know I can move this on the side again. Yeah, something like that. And now maybe I can work on my vectors and stuff like this and see how it looks. So now you can see that it stays high a bit too long for me because it's slowing down. But the slowing effect, I believe, is due to our y-axis here. Hey, Angel. I'm happy to having you. Really. Angel's been following me for a long time and always make good stuff to support me. So really happy you joined the streaming. And by the way, I'm super grateful that I have at least one person. So I think you're close to 10 people. That's really cool for streaming. I've seen very well-known people having like 30, 50 people watching their streaming. So for me, having like nearly 10 people is very nice. Thank you, everyone. So hopefully that looks interesting. So here I won't be working on the Z z pass for the time being that much. I will just now try to work on the y-axis, so the movement toward the front here. And I do know that I will get rid of this because it looks really, really bad, and I don't need it. You can see that by default, I think I'm in auto clamp for the vector. So whenever I move a vector, it tries to align with the next one and create a smooth curve. So if I get rid of this, you can see that I still have a smooth curve. Okay, so in this case, we have this this sustain in the back. Okay, I will make it slightly longer, maybe. Okay, all right, and then we need to have the same straight impact here. We don't want it to slow down. Okay, so I will switch to vector 2. And now it should look a little better. Still a bit weird. So maybe have a little slowing down. And I think it should stay backward a little longer. Okay, something like this before it hit the ground. So actually the fastest movement will be here when the leg is thrown forward. That's a bit too much, I think, here, the transition. So let's move this like that. Trying to get I will make sure it's, yeah, it wasn't auto clamped here. And a slight slow down toward the front. Maybe I can get rid of this one. Yeah, it will be easier for me to work. Okay. So that's quite hard to focus on one leg at this time, but okay. So now let's see. It goes forward. I think regarding the 8, it looks nice. Okay, I will keep it this way for the time being. And I will do the same process with the others. So what we could do if we have exactly the same spacing between the legs is currently to copy and paste those curves on the other one. Simply doing this. And then offset the position by selecting the wall thing here, for example. And let's say you want exactly the same movement but higher. I just move them by pressing G and Y to constrain them on the Y-axis in the graph editor. And you can see that if I play it, I will have exactly the same movements but higher. Okay. So let's see this one. First of all, let's set our linear movement here. So I can select all the keys here and press V and set it to vector. Okay, so now I have a linear movement on the ground, and you can see that both bones here are following one from each other with the same spacing. Checking the checking the chat at the same time. So sorry if there are some blank spots in what I'm saying. So as we have seen, we need to have this movement backward, then the absorption of the speed from the ground. So I'm rotating this, and I will move this one up, set it to auto clamped. Okay. Okay, and then it's moving forward really fast. So I will move this key on the side and try to have something smooth here. Okay. And then here the slow is not, is quite low here. Ooh. Stays too much time backward, I think. Looks weird. To me, at least. And should stay up a little longer. Here I will switch to vector and still keep a bit of deceleration because it's extending until it reached the ground. And when it touched the ground, it needs to be at full speed, full acceleration, I would say. And I want the up position to stay a little longer. So I've just moved those points and now I'm checking my curves. So here looks pretty nice. Yeah, not bad. So now I will just make sure it's how to say it, that my curves are correct. Okay, that if I told you it needs to have the more acceleration here and I do something like that, that won't be good. Okay, so I just don't look at the my animation. I just look at the curve and make it falling like this with the curve with the most verticality here. Okay, so I'm sure I have it because this vector is outward. If I put it inward, you can see we get this motion here, this slowing effect on the movement, while here I'm sure it's accelerating until it reaches this point. And if I do it like that, I will have a constant movement here. Okay. Okay, looks decent to me, so let's do the same here. Okay, no questions. Switch to vector, rotate this, move this a bit up, and move this on the side. Okay, I will work on the 8th first, it's easier. So let's delay it a bit, switch to vector here, rotate here. So this is pretty a mechanical way to work. It's not super artistic friendly in this case for this character. Let's say when you work with the pose to pose and breakdowns, you can put more character in your character, let's say. But for the time being, I'm trying to have a nice flow. And the magic will appear when we will create the offset between the different elements. So here you can see that it's a bit strange here. I have a big slow down forward. You can see that it's moving really fast toward the front and then it slows down and go down, and that really looks bad. So this is this slowing effect here, which is, I think, a bit too much. So I will offset those, switch to vector here and rotate it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, looks better. The Z movement is a bit strong, but I think it's decent. Yeah, looks great. I mean, when you look frame by frame, you will be always bothered. So there are ways to do so. I will just show you rapidly if you don't know those. if you're working on movement theory, okay, and you want to, if you're not able to read your curves correctly, let's say, but you know the theory behind the movement, you can use the ghost here, the ghost bone, which will allow you, I will make select only, I will do it on 23 frames so that I can see my cycle, okay? So here I can see I have a constant distance between the bones, between the position of these bones, and then I can see I have a deceleration here because the spacing is smaller and smaller, and then it accelerates toward the front. So maybe I would like something more curvy, like this, let's say, or maybe like that. I can work directly here to see the movement. That's an awesome feature currently. Okay, or you can calculate a motion path here, like that. Okay, and you can see the movement. What would have been and you can see your timing, and you can see the keyframe, so you can control if your curves look smooth, etc. What I would have liked is that, or maybe we can do this, but is to be able to edit this curve in 3D. That will be awesome. Meaning that you move those points and it automatically corrects the curves here. So if anybody knows a way, please write it in the comments. That will be awesome. So I get rid of this and set this to 0 and get back to work. So let's do it for the very last one. Select those, press V, switch to vector to make them align. Go to the Z here, we need to have a smoother thing here, switch to vector here too, create the acceleration before impact and offset this to have the curve, okay? Maybe here also rotate this a bit. I haven't done this for the other one. Yeah, but it was already in vector, so that should be fine. Hey Matthew, or Mathieu, I don't know. Any input? I saw you just got rid of your message. Okay, and regarding the forward kinematic here, let's move this, create a vector here. Let's create our absorption of the movement backward here, like that. So I won't go too far with this one because it may stretch a lot. I will auto clamp the, okay, that's normal. Okay. Yeah, looks pretty good to me. Yeah. Okay. Did you try the onion skin add-on? No, I haven't. But I will, if it helps, I will definitely try it. So I think we have a decent loop here of movement. And I will start offsetting it. So what I will do is that I will offset the, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Or I will offset them. I will try to find a rule to offset them, but I believe that I should offset by half the front and the rear leg, like a mirror movement. So what I do right now is that I will take all those keys, I will get rid of the useless one for the X here, and I will duplicate them and move them to of 24 frames. So shift D, constraint on X by pressing X and move it here, so that I have a cycle here, okay? And now I can move those by 12 frames toward on X here. So I can see the number of frames here. It was set here. All right. You can see now I still have my loop because this position is exactly the same as the end position here. Okay. And as I start to have this offset, so we'll repeat the same for those. I think there's enough for I know it's a feature in Maya, and I think it's an awesome feature because it's I mean it's so artist friendly to be able to edit the curve directly in the 3D space. And that's a bit of a bummer, you can't do this in Blender. So I will do the same here, and I think I will offset this by maybe, I don't know, let's try 4 frames and play it. And it looks interesting. I will do the same with this one, select everything, Shift D, X, and I will play the motion. So I think I need to offset those two a little more. So maybe 2 frames more. Yeah, looks pretty nice. So yeah, there is a bit of before someone pointed out, the legs are crossing and there is clipping, etc. So in real world you may not have this. If it was for a bigger production, I will try to avoid it. Here I try to have a good visual effect. It's hard to avoid clipping on a low poly character when he has a sword or something like this. You often have the end going through. That's difficult, and also this is a very simple rig, so that Unity will handle it rapidly, that it's not too hard to animate, and again I'm in production, so I try to be as fast as possible in the animation. So this first streaming, and I think a lot of other, will be mainly focused on game animation, so we may not reach a Pixar quality, and I don't think I will ever reach this, but you have the idea. I'm trying to make nice animation with the correct how to say it, the correct method, because I've seen a lot of tutorial where people put keys, they offset them, and okay, it's done, but they don't align the curves and do stuff like this, and for me that's really problematic. Then don't even use the graph editor. So yeah. So, yeah, you can do it frame by frame, but yeah, that's a bit weird for me. So let's offset those by 8 maybe, to have some consistency between the first and it looks like a gallop or something like this. Don't like it that much. Maybe it should touch the ground before. So here I can play the animation and just offset it at will. Here I think it's more interesting. So I don't even know how much I've offset it, but I have a crisscross between all the legs, and you can see that looks that looks weird, but that looks nice. So if I was really professional, I would search for giant spider motion reference on internet and try to mimic the movement. But the problem is that will be hard, I think, to find, and this is supposed to be like a 2-meter tall spider, so it may not work the same way as another. So for the time being, I think I will go this way. So what I can do now is mirror those animation. So I will select this one, Control C to copy the all the curves here. Select the other one here and press Control Shift V. Now I should have the same animation. You see? Same animation in same time. So now I just need to duplicate those and offset it by half of the animation length, so 12 frames. So let's move 12 frames backward, and now I have an offset movement here. Okay, and just repeat this. So Control C, I select the mirror bone here, Control Shift V. Alright, I will just check that it doesn't turn buggy, and wow, that's hard to see. I already have an offset. I think I know why. Because it has how to say it, pasted this point at the point 0, so it's the -6 frames, so I need to offset this backward, and no, it's already offset. So that's weird that I have an offset of movement. Oh no, I'm not selecting the right one. Okay, this one, -6 -6, sorry. Nobody wants -6. All right, and now I have to offset it by 12 more. All right, something like this. Okay, and repeat the process. So sometimes it's quite hard to select the right leg. I think it's a spider problem. Control Shift V. Okay. Now let's see how much offset it was. It was offset by 8 frames, if I remember correctly, even more here. So I will just focus on this one, 8, frame 8. Let's select the leg. And here it is, okay? And I should have to move it 12 frames backward again. GX 12 frame. Oh. And I lack of frames here, so I will just duplicate them, put them here. Okay, looks nice. And do the same for this final one. So Control C, frame 12, okay. Here, Control Shift V, go to frame 12. Move this spot here. I already know I will have to duplicate those, so I do it directly. GX, move them backward of 12 frame. Now I should have this movement, okay? So I haven't been working on the rotation of those bones here. I'm not using pole targets. I'm using directly the root bone of the IK to be rotated to give the position, because this will mainly depend on the torso position. Okay, so as I will work on the torso, then I don't want to try to fix some rotation issues or whatever before I move the torso, because it will create new problems. And this is something you wouldn't have in pose-to-pose animation. But here it's a pretty specific thing. So I will let them like this. Later in the video, I will show you how to currently clean the cycle and only have 24 frames. Then we need to align the keyframes. But yeah, I think it's looking decent here. Yeah. Let me know what you think, if you have any advice or any complaint, I won't care about it. So also what I would like to show you here, for the front legs, I have this little effect here, which is available only on the front leg. It's to be able to make attack animation and stuff like this more appealing than something really, you know, hard or stiff, I don't know. So what I will do is that I will animate it right away, okay, because it depends on the foot position, and I will just give a slight curve when it goes forward and before it touches the ground, walking only on the curves here. I won't be adding useless keyframe, because as you can see, this bone has only keyframe on its Z rotation, which is here, okay. So I will just have a look to the movement. And also the rig is not made to be deformed while touching the ground. If I rotate it here, you can see it doesn't touch the ground anymore. So I have to make sure it happens only when in the air, okay. So let's try, okay. So what I like is when it's moving forward like so, I will set my keyframe while it's on the ground here. So 8 keyframe, shifted X, okay. So here it doesn't move, and here I'd like it to curve a bit before it goes forward and open and touch the ground like that. So I will make it curving here in the other direction, something like this, not too much. All right, and then before it touches the ground, it will open. So I need to make a curve like this. Okay. I will make this one shorter. And when it will hit the ground, I want it to be fast. So I will switch to a vector curve here. Do it like this and offset this one a bit. And let's see how it looks. Looks weird, for sure. Yeah, that looks weird, and I think it's the this rotation. When it comes, that the problem also is that it's curving toward the inside of the character, not toward the front, because the legs are on the side. So maybe make it more subtle here. And also it should open way later. So here I will just make this smaller. Because when you are moving your hand forward, it should, you know, you go like this and it should curve more, and at the last time you open it. So yes, something like this should look better. Let's see. Yeah, I should have make an isolation pair. Maybe okay, like that. Something more pronounced. Okay, let's see how it looks. Yeah, that's weird here. Open too much. It gives a bit of I don't know, a bit of like a popping also. So I will reduce the effects a lot. Don't think it's really relevant on this character. Yeah. Okay, looks better here. So I can copy this, go on the other one here, press Ctrl Shift V, and offset it by So here I will have a little problem to offset it, so I need to copy the very last frame so that it's a line, and now I can duplicate those and move them by 12 frame backward, and that should be okay. Yeah, it gives a bit of movement in there. It's very subtle, I have to admit. Okay, I will have a look to the motion trail add-on to see how it looks. So we've done this, and we are very happy about it. Okay, so let's re-enable our torso and see how it looks. And for the time being, we have a very stiff torso because there is absolutely no movement. And you will see that when adding this torso movement, that will really enhance the animation a lot. But here it looks like an old school animation for the time being. So I will enable the torso rig here, and I will switch to stick, okay, because I don't need those octahedral bones. Display stick, yeah, that's way enough. So I will show you how it is made. So I have here a position controller, okay, which I can rotate, etc. It will make everything follow, but ooh, you have a big weight painting problem. So let's fix it, really easy. So whenever you have, so that's the weight painting tip of the day. So whenever you have separated pieces from the mesh here and you want them to stick to it on the low poly character, I mean, the simplest way is to select it and select the closest vertex, okay, and then I will just copy the whole weight of this vertex to those selected. Copy here, and I can see I may have the same problem on this one, but for this one I know why. All right, so now when I move this, it follow along, and when I will deform it, it follow too, and don't get distorted. Okay. So this one I will just hit to set the location of the whole body. Then I have this one, which is really easy, that orientate the abdomen, so the hip, okay, let's say, even if the legs are not attached to this part. And then I have a rig that I use always for clothes and stuff like this whenever I want to have a follow-through movement. So meaning that, let's say you have a soft body, okay, you are moving the leading stuff, and the rest will curve and will come back later. And I do this with this kind of bone. Whenever I rotate, it will rotate the inside bone. So if I display okay, here in the bone, sorry, the deformation bone, you can see that I have different bone for the abdomen, like 4, and they are just copying the local rotation of this bone, and the root one here is parented to this controller. That's it, super simple. But maybe I will do rigging streaming, maybe on a character. That could be interesting, creating a rig from scratch. But for the time being, let's work on this. So let's get rid of this, and we'll first work with the position. So what I will do is that it's pretty hard to get the motion of the spider. So what you have to do is select a pair of legs, and it's the way I do it to get a motion, and and use those two legs as if it was a human being. And I will move the torso depending on those two legs. So on this character, I will choose the front legs for sure, but the back legs are also interesting because they are bigger. So I will try with the front leg. A rigging stream will be awesome. Yeah, okay, I will do one. Not next streaming, because I don't know. Here it's easy because it's a simple character, and I rigged it rapidly yesterday. I have other commission work, but as soon as I will get back to full production on this project, I will plan a rigging stream. I will drink a bit. Very hard to speak, so it's already an hour and a half. Okay. Hopefully that I will finish it. So I haven't set any limit, but I'd like to finish. I want it to, like, in an hour. That will be fine. So I will use the front leg as a reference for the torso position. Okay. So generally what you have is that whenever you're pushing on the leg, your body will lean toward this leg. So what I can do is that I will keep this pose for the time being. I will switch back to dope sheet, click on the arrow button here to filter this. So first, this leg will touch the ground and move on 8th frame toward the back. So mathematically, I will move the X position, the highest X position should be at 4 frame. But then by offsetting the movement, you will get something more natural. But if I had to guess it, I know I have 8 frame of movement on the ground where the spider is has its weight on this leg. So I will move the body on the right at this moment, and also I will move it. Yeah, it should move up as soon as, but we'll check the movement toward the top later. I will first do the X position, and then we'll work on the Z position. Okay, so it leans on the right, and let's say like 12 frames later, so on frame 16, it leans on the left. So I will have to copy this pose, Control C, Control Shift V, it's mirrored, and auto write it here. So here the movement won't be good because it goes from 0 to extreme, and extreme to extreme, and extreme to 0 then. So here I have exactly the same position while the spacing is not the same. So we'll have to move the curves for sure, but that won't be a problem. Okay, so generally when your foot touch the ground, you will have a few frames where you will absorb the movement, and then you push on the leg to get higher. Okay, so I think that the lowest should be just before this extreme X position, but I will set it here and will offset it while working on the curve. I don't know if I make myself super clear here, but here we have the Z position down, then it should push when reaching the half also, push upward. I don't really care if the position is good. I will revise it with the once I have the curves. Sorry, I'm bugging. That's quite how to say. It's tiring to speak in English while working when you're not an English dude also. So frame 9, frame 4, so I have 5 frame more, frame 21, I should have this position here. So Control C, Control Shift V. Okay. So now I have this. You see that there is an acceleration, deceleration because the curves are not aligned. So we need to work on this now. So I will get directly to the curve. So again, here I'm not. I could have been working on pose to pose, but I will make a follow-through movement on with those. So this global torso is the most important, and it depends on the legs. So I will just walk this way. So here you can see all those curves. So the rotation here, we don't need them. I haven't rotated it, so I just hide them. And also the Y location for the time being. Maybe I will add some back and forth movement, but for the time being, I won't be considering it. So here you can see that the curves are pretty messy. So what we need to do here is to check our timing. I will first work on the Z. So I will deactivate the X and see how it looks. Okay. So here I have my absorption. I want it a little before. All right. Then it will push up and get back here. And here I have a mistake here. I should have exactly the same frame. So first thing I can do to get a sense of cycle is to align. I will hide the X here. Is to align those here. So I can rotate those curves. Move them here. So I'm editing them exactly the same way. I could duplicate this and move on the X. Now I should have, you see, something smoother. Again, okay. So now if you want to add a sense of weight, the timing on the body of your character should stay down longer than up, meaning that it will go down and try to push, and as soon as it's up, it go down again. So maybe the famous absorption we were speaking about. So what I can do is slightly increase those handles and decrease those one, and then I can duplicate those. They are exactly the same, and I should have the same spacing here. So 3, 2, 9, 6, 16 to 22. Yeah, that was a mistake, so I need to rework this. All right, something like that. Maybe shorten this one here. Oh, I haven't. Let's see how it looks. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's a bit too much, I think. Okay, I'm gone. See you. The streaming will be available in full length a few hours after, once YouTube has made everything it has to do. Okay, let's stay on this for the time being. If the amplitude is too much, then we can easily change it by selecting everything here, setting the cursor more or less at the using here the bounding box and SY. So I will show you. I click S to scale on the Y-axis, And you can see now the movement is way more subtle, and I can make it more hardcore if I want. Really nice. Okay, let's keep it this way. Now let's see the X movement. So I like to make it doing an 8 shape, lean 8 shape. So I will activate it and see. So it will move to the side here, and it should, while it's getting up, should be a little more on the side. So I will move it like that. Okay. While it's at its highest point, so I think it was seems to be this frame, the body should be centered, I think. I don't know. Yeah, let's try something like this. So maybe now maybe I will offset it a bit, something like that, and go down, and it should go. So now it's pretty easy. I have this frame number 5, which is the extreme on the side. Half of the animation later, it should be on the extreme on the other side. So that's gonna be frame 17. Then this one should be the let's 2, 3, 4 frames later. I should have this pose mirrored. So here it was clearly not the case. No. This pose mirrored here. That's weird. Why it doesn't? Maybe, okay, no, doesn't work. Okay, you have to control shift V directly in the graph editor. So now I will have to align those curves. So it should be something more like this. And I think I may like 1. So let's see. Or I have a problem in my timing probably, but let's see how it looks. So it goes down here. I want it to be more on the right later. Something like this. I will get should get rid of this one for the time being. So I want to have this shape of movement. Okay, so it moved to the right. Once it's up, it's at its maximum, and then it falls down. It should be slower. So it maybe here. Yeah, I think those ones are useless here. Because it's a sinusoidal movement, so let me just mirror those. GY. You can see that I'm trying to perfectly align those curves so that the cycle should look clean. Now I have this movement, and I'd like it to stay up maybe a little longer. Here, I want it to be high a little longer, or maybe I need it I need to offset those a bit. Yeah, it looks better this way, way better, exactly what I wanted. So now I have to move those until, if I zoom in, you can see that until it's well aligned here. And that should be nearly my 0 point. All right. Ooh, that's pretty Pretty crazy. Yeah, I like it. That's quite threatening. If you switch here like this, you can see that we have way more life, and there is a lot of determination in her movement, I think. Okay, and now maybe we could add a bit of movement on the y-axis too. Something like this. Okay. So something that let's see, when it push on the front, when it, I don't know, because I don't know if it's necessary, because that may look weird since the root bone won't move. I don't know. I will add a little bit of it. So I want it to go a little backward here. And mirror this, Control C. Oh, come on. Yeah, something like this. Let's see. Bit like before, I have this 8 shape appearing. All right, let's rotate those. Oh, yeah, looks clean, I think. Yeah, that's a little bit of movement here. So now we can work on the torso. So not to be worried about the legs, which brings a lot of information, and it looks, I think it looks pretty nice with the legs here. But that's the problem. When you have something moving nice in your on your model, you will be focusing on this and you won't be focusing on the other things. And also we don't need it to make the other part of the body moving. So as you can see here, my points here, my curves are aligned. I don't have this absorption at the very end. And this is one of the things I think people don't show you when they make short animation course or tutorial on YouTube. And I've been doing these mistakes a lot on this production. And since I've seen this by watching other tutorial, and it changed my life. So now I can work on the body. So I will just hide the legs like that, and I will directly work with curves. So working on a pure follow through animation, meaning that the movement of the body will depend on the movement of the whole torso we've just set. So I will select this, and those are little mist. Oh no, that's normal. I set it to Euler because I wanted to keep it simple, so that's not a matter. So we'll be rotating on the x-axis first, and the idea is just to create the loop. So when the body is falling down, your tail should be getting up, okay? And when it starts going up, it should be the time where it's the most lean backward. So I will take this reference first. So when I'm in the middle of the lifting, this is where I get, so I press R double X, the lowest position of this part of the body. Something like that. And when it's at half of getting down, so probably 6 frames later, that should be its highest point. Something like this. Okay. Okay, so now I need to work on those here. So lowest got up should be a little faster here. Maybe 2 frame, I think. I think I should have a base movement of 6 per 6 frames each time. And that's really weird. I need to check the Z position here. Yeah, you have 2 and 2 down. Okay. So let's duplicate those. Hold a sec. I will keep my original timing and duplicate those and move them by 20 by 12 frame. Okay, something like this. Get rid of this, so that will help me to see the movement here. Okay, I will add a keyframe here, only selected channel, and that should be my 0, and I will lack 1 here. Might be this one. 29 minus 5. Okay. So I'm a bit looking at, yeah, I don't like this. I will work with poses. You can see that I've changed my mind. So going down, move a bit like this auto clamp. Getting up, absorption, okay. And when getting down again, up, and when getting up, I should have the same as this one. Alright, and 23 here. Now it looks quite better, even if the timing is not good yet, but that's really weird. So falling, and yeah, should be offset here. Check. Okay, I was lacking 1 frame, that's why. 24 is here. I think I still have something a bit buggy here. Yeah, looks better. So when it goes down, it leans. I think it's a bit too much here. Okay, let's keep it this way for the time being with the back tail. That should be that should work. And also I have a strange movement at the end, so I have to make sure that those are clean. Shifted DX. Yeah, it was not exactly the same. So alright, and now to make it let's say smoother, I will add this follow through animation. So it will be also, I think, on the X, yeah. So when it goes up, I will check here. It's getting up from here, so partially here. That should be higher, lower, sorry. Something like this. So this one 2. And when it reach the maximum and go down, I should have an inverted movement. All right, and check here. At frame 21, it should restart. So I have a bit wavy shape here. Maybe the first one doesn't look that bad. Maybe I should offset this one a bit. Yeah, from free frame to have something regular. And I will reduplicate this one and make it slightly higher like this. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it looks way better now. If you have any question, don't hesitate. I know I'm not speaking that much now because yeah, that's not as to be explained as before. There is no real tips here, but being in pure production. So I will add a slight left and right movement the same way. So this time I will work with the keyframes, the curves. So here add a slight is coming here, and then it's absorbed on the other side. Yeah, animation is concentration, but I don't want to feel boring, you know. So maybe I should try to put a movie in backward, and I just move on the side when I'm doing those things that are more annoying. Okay, 22. And also there might be I don't want to look like a pure noob, but there are some times where I don't handle the animation that well, so hopefully it will still be decent in the end. But I don't want to show you things you should not do, but sometimes yeah, you have to experiment a bit. Ooh, that's weird. Okay, and in this way, that's too. So I will just check the X movement here, and we have the extreme here, and it's right in the middle. So I should have this extreme right pose right in the middle. So when it accelerates, I should have my body lean toward the side this way, and so I should offset everything the same way. So first I go into why? Okay, cool. And here it's way too fast, too fast. So let's see, we have one movement, two movements. So I should have a basical 6 frame, as usual, 6 frame of difference, and that's why a lot of animation are done in 24 frames per second. It's because it's easy to cut them into pieces then. So 0 to 6 to 12 to 18 and to 24. So I just need to duplicate those, I think. Maybe it won't work. Okay, no, there is should be like that. Yes, simply like this. Okay. No, it looks. Oh my god, okay, so now I can work on this one, and I will just make the same movement with an offset. So let's work differently. I won't watch this. I will just make the extreme pose by moving this on the y-axis, go into the pose, the frame 12, duplicate this, and create the opposite value. So roughly, I'm watching the grid here and the 0 point, or I could duplicate in scale by -1 on the y-axis. Now I will duplicate those, and I will offset them while watching the animation. So what I can do here is switch to, so this is really not a professional way to do it, but it will work. I can watch it now, and I will just offset this until I'm happy with the result. So here, I think it's offset the wrong way. So when it moves toward the right, it should be something like this. Okay, let's see. Moving to the right. Yeah, no, the timing is not good. Yes. Yeah, looks fun now. A little jiggly like this. So I will add a keyframe, only selected. Shorten it, align it cleanly, go to frame 24, duplicate it so that it's well aligned, and I will get rid of those. There is also the cycle curve modifier on the, yeah, but I don't know how to use it. I've been using it a few times, and I always Bats is talking about there is a cycle modifier in the so to add a modifier here, you select a curve, you go to modifier. So one I use a lot is the noise modifier, but you also have the possibility to create a cycle here, and in this case it works. So it takes those points, or maybe the wall curve boundaries, I don't know, and repeat the movement. So that's pretty nice. Then if you want to use this in Blender, you can add a cycle modifier to your wall character. But when I've been testing it on multiple curve, it didn't work. So maybe I will try something. If I Control-C this, display all the curves, and past the modifier, it will work. Nope. Okay, I probably have forgotten something. So the cycle here, I copy it, select everything, and paste it, and yeah, you see that doesn't work here. So don't know. And also for the export, if you have, I'm not sure about it, but if you have a full animation, I'm afraid it will affect everything. So it will bake an animation that has no hand, and it will crash simply. Okay, so let's get rid of it. Alright, so let's watch it now. Yeah, looks fine. It's lovely, lovely. So I think 1/2 hour to animate 2 more bones. Half hour, sorry, that should be okay. Don't hesitate to ask anything if you want, or to show me some love by saying that I'm awesome and you've never watched such an incredible artist working. I know. So I will do exactly the same with the torso, but I like to have a movement more like she's pushing his, because it's a male. He's pushing forward like this, so it will go down like that, and then when it will rise, I will offset this one. I will work on the dope sheet, but go down and push forward. So here is the extreme pose, let's say, of this part. Like this, is pushing and getting upper like this. So now I should offset this by 12 to 20. And also this one by 12 would be like 28 here. So -4 for us. Okay, and now I can get rid of the original point here. That should cycle. So here I still... What is that? Again, I made a mistake in my cycle. Yeah, for sure. 8. So down. Let's see. Okay. We'll rework this. Badass, yeah. On this project there are a lot of nice, really nice character, for sure. On this project, when Jeremy is the CEO on the project, called me, I was like, yeah, independent game. I don't know if I will run into this, because most of the time, and most of the guys are guys that don't know what to do. They want to make a game, but that's all they know about their projects, and they don't have money and stuff like this. So I was a bit like, yeah, okay, let's see. And when he give me the briefing and when he show me the concept art, I say, okay, I will do it, because he already has a small team. We are all freelancers on this project, and he really spent a lot of time grabbing some really talented people. I'm the only exception, let's say, but yeah, really good people. So when you see this kind of stuff, you just want to work on it. So I think here it's too delayed. I should... So it's pushing forward like that, and should get up way faster here. Something like this. Okay, now I have this feeling of, yeah, it's hard. Okay, and now it's following here, and we get back to the pushing here, and we push and get up. Okay, now it looks better. I will just revise my curves. So what I will do is take those 2 frames move them to this part. So it's a bit extreme, but I will be able to revise it while working on the curve. So let's jump into the cartoon shaman here. Oh, hey, thank you, Adrian, thank you. Cartoon shaman. Ariane Peaks. Oh, I don't. Is that Jordi? Cartoon shaman? So let's forget about those for the time being. So here I have my absorption and it pushes. So here I need to duplicate. It's the 12, so that's really easy. I just move it here. And okay, it's in auto clamp. So currently this frame is aligned with this one. So if I want this one to work correctly, even if it's out of the boundaries of the animation, I will need to duplicate this one too. You can see it auto adjusted, get auto adjusted. Okay, so now if I get rid of this one will bug. You see that bug in a way. It will change its curvature here. And I don't want that. I want it to keep it this way. So what I can do is switch it to free. So in the free mode, it will keep its current state without caring about the other on the other side. So that's the way I finish the cycle generally. So V free here, and I will duplicate it on the x-axis and get rid of those. Now you can see that it hasn't changed of shape, but I'm lacking one frame here. This one, 27, so 3 frame later. Yeah, like that, because I wanted to make it a little slower when it's up, like it stays up. And now I will just reduce the amplitude. I don't know if it's a good English word for this, but in French it works. So first I will slightly offset it toward up, Y, like that, so that it goes a little higher and a little less down. And now using the bounding box here, I will scale it on the y-axis to reduce the effect, because as the head will inherit also this movement that will look way too extreme, like yeah I'm running, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so in this way that will be better. So if he's listening to death metal while he's running, okay, could be moving like this, but I think that's not necessarily a joke and a thing that usual people may understand. Okay, so I don't care for the time being about the W quaternion rotation, which allow you to I don't even know exactly how it works, so it's hard to explain, but generally you just don't care about it unless you have extreme movement, and it allows you to when you work in quaternion, you're limited into a 0 to 1 scale of movement. So generally, when you want to go further in X, or Y or Z, etc., the W come into place. So I don't really know how it works, but I know how to fix this when there is a problem. But since there is no problem here, I won't be showing anything about it. So let's do the same thing on the Z this time. So I will go downward. That will be easier to see. So again, that's a bit a strange way to animate, but since the legs in this case are the lead for the animation, I don't need to work pose to pose. I consider that everything then is a follow-through animation, meaning that they are I don't know, but they are under the influence of the legs and of the body movement. And I just do this really smoothly, and it brings some nice style, and it will look fine. So here I can get rid of all those frame and create my extreme. So I think, yeah, like before, won't get dumped this time. So you can see that it's the middle point here. So it's the most extreme pose when going to the side. When I'm in the middle, this is where my neck is the more on the side, etc. So I just get the direction of the movement. So it's moving toward the right. So I need it to lean in this direction. So something like this. And I will just copy a frame to 12 and set nearly a mirror position. So it's nearly 3 graduation here. Yeah, that's too extreme, I think. And maybe this, yeah, 28. Okay, let's go here. Oh, okay, everything is offset. Here. Okay, sorry. So it's a bit too much, I think. You can see here the result. So I just need to play the animation and scale it on the y-axis until it's strong enough but subtle enough so that it doesn't look like she has a dead head following her body. Okay, looks nice. So when doing cycle, again, it's really different from doing other action, especially for this character. So that's why I will do other streamings on other animation. Yeah, but quaternions are hard. Yeah, they are hard to understand, but they are cool to manipulate. The only problem is that sometimes working on those curves is a bit harder than working on Euler curves, where it rotates like this and you just have to think about the amplitude of the movement and the speed of the movement. Encountered any issues with Euler rotation flipping? That is my biggest fear since the anti-Euler filter option. Euler rotation flipping, so a question about from Bats. I'm not sharing the chat, not because I don't like you, but because I think I need the whole frame to be shown, so that will be a bit messy here. But Bats is asking if I have ever encountered any issues with the Euler rotation flipping, meaning that you have the bones that flips off angle. So I'm not sure if I will have a good answer, but you will have bone flipping mainly when you are using copy rotation, and you will reach this problem oftenly when you reach more than 180 degrees on one axis. The cool thing about Euler rotation is that you can make full rotation, like 360 degrees, 720 degrees, etc. While with quaternion, with only 2 keyframes, I mean. While with quaternion, you can't. As soon as it will reach 180 degrees, it will get back to the other position. You will have this, because it's calculating in quaternion, is calculated the shortest way to get from initial stage to the next one. So I do this movement, and as soon as I want to go this from my original pose, I switch back here and get back here, and you've got those things like this, those flipping. But I've never had this with the Euler rotation, and when I didn't know how to fix and didn't understand how to fix the quaternion flipping, I used to have a second torso bone using Euler rotation. For example, if I want my character to do a front flip, I will switch to Euler and then finish with quaternion, which was a mess, a total mess. But what you have to do is just to give steps to the movement in Quaternion, which is in the end what you will do. So I'm not sure if I have answered the question, and that's quite a hard topic, so I don't want to say dumb things about it. So sorry about that. So for the time being, I won't add Y rotation, but we'll add a bit in the very end. Let's say we have 20 more minutes left before my head explodes. So I will do exactly the same with the end, based on it will be an offset movement of this. So what we can try, I will try if it works. Let's copy the Z movement. Yeah. No, don't be sorry about asking question. I feel sorry about not being able to answer everything, but so I've just copy and pasted the movement of the neck. Let's say it's the neck here of the Z position onto the head, because it will be exactly the same movement, but it needs to be offset, and it needs to be offset to be retardated, to be delayed. Sorry, retardated is about more about the head, let's say. So this point should be somewhere like maybe a few frames after. You see now? Or I have this nice break here, and when this bone reach its extreme, the other one just follow and get there. And here in a second, I've built my loop for this axis. Sorry. So I just need to add E. No, I said only selected channel. So here, E only selected channel. Add a keyframe. I will then align it. So switch it to 3 and rotate it like this. So it breaks a bit the curve here. I will try to make it better then. That's mainly because this one is not auto clamped. Yeah, looks better here. Shift D X and auto clamp this one too. Oh, sorry, like this. And here it might need to be slightly downward. And rotate it like this so that I have the slowing down. That looks decent. So I will do the same for the x-axis without any, I don't know the English word for this, but I don't feel ashamed about breaking my work this way. Control V, Shift D X. I will move those, so this point should be offset just after, so it will be this one here, like this, and let's see how it looks. Oh yeah, looks really fun. You see? So that's why before I told you I have reduced the influence of the rotation, the bouncing, because as we add it also to the head, that may looks a bit too much then. But I think once we will display the leg, that will look nice too. So I will add keyframes here. He only selected channel. So I will switch those to auto clamp so that they align a bit better. Switch this one to 3 then, and shift D on the frame 24. Right. Auto clamp this one. Okay. So I don't know if the maybe on the stream the frame rate or the movement might not look super nice, but on my side it's pretty decent, let's say. Okay. So we have all this. The only thing I would like to add is a slight Y rotation, an absorption like this. Okay. So maybe I will not be able to do something as cool as I want, but so the idea is when you push on your right leg, okay, you have this movement of you go like that. So I will put it on the neck or the torso, I don't know. Just a bit of rotation. Frame rate is really good. Cool. So we didn't met that much of technical problem. I'm super happy about this. So in this case, when it's moving to this side, I'd like I'd like the head to be rotated a bit like this. Okay. So GY, he's looking forward this, and when it gets to the other side, 12, that should be like that. Looks sweet. Thank you. Are you talking about the animation or me? Do I look sweet enough for you? Yeah, you see, like it's like he's maybe I should offset it a bit so that it looks more extreme here. So I will try just to be rotating more when it comes forward like this. Or maybe it won't look that good. Maybe more. No, I don't like it. So I think it was should be the other way. So something like this. I need to duplicate it again. Because here I feel like it's what no, it's weird when I do this. Both. Thank you. So here I want, yeah. Or maybe it should be here. Yeah, but I'm near the 12, number 12, so I think I will keep it as it was. And add some offset movement like this to the head to enhance it a bit. And that should be it. Then I will show you how to cut your frames to create the loop, and it will be done, I think. Control V, Shift D, X. I want to offset the first one here, so I will move it like that. Yeah, now it looks a bit better. Only selected channel, so it's currently breaking the curve here. Okay, something like this. Shift D, X, 24. Okay. That's really fun. Maybe a bit too much, but I think also, hey, are there robots? De rien, ça fait plaisir. You also have to. What I've seen is that if you, it's better to go a bit too extreme than to go a bit too subtle when you're making animation for games, because there is one thing also. When I generally forward the work to the team, they say, "Oh, that's really good." And I say, "Yeah, but there is a problem with the foot or with the." They don't have the cycle running all day long toward their face like this. They put it in a game. They have a view that is like something like this from the character. They can turn around and then they see the action for 1 second or so. They don't see it running because the character is not moving. You select it and make it move to a point. It makes the action, etc. On the attack, there might be a bit more. They may expect something really spectacular, but for the cycles, as soon as it is smooth, that's fine. And since you are looking at your character from afar, make things a little too extreme. It's easier then to correct it by scaling the curves than to make it more extreme afterward. So, time to display the legs, I think. And let's see, only render. So what do you, I think the head movement is a bit too much, but yeah, you have the idea. And I don't feel like there is this, you remember at the very beginning, there was this question about adding a pause on it touched the ground, but that might happen when I don't know, you're making your run cycle and making the movement in Blender or so. But here, since you have to think of a linear movement, something like okay, I don't know, in the game, that should work. So the head movement, it might be a bit too much, but yeah, I'm happy about it. So okay. So now let's switch back here. Let's display our legs. Let's select. Okay, and now I just have to make a little bit of cleanup on the animation by adding the missing curve. So all channels, I will add here. I'm lost in my words. Just add a keyframe, switch them to 3, and duplicate them on frame 24. Okay, and get rid of everything else. All right. Then I just double check that I don't have strange vectors. So here it was auto clamped, so it looks clean, I would say. Here also, okay. And here maybe it's weird. Yeah. Here I should add this rotation, maybe. No. No, maybe it was no, that's not normal. This one here. So let me check, it should be slightly higher. Oh, that's really weird. Let me check before I deleted everything. So if I get rid of it, okay. If I auto clamp it, I think it's because this one is not good. Okay. So let's duplicate those. Sorry. Now I will get rid of those. Since we didn't add a keyframe in between here, sorry, I've deleted it. I pushed this vector here to get the curve, and that was a mistake. I should have kept it this way. I should have added another keyframe to keep it smooth. Okay, that's fine. So I will have the same problem on any keyframes that are here. So in this case, that should be fine. So I will add a new keyframe, switch them to 3, duplicate them to frame 0, and get rid of everything. else. Okay. So yeah, that's the best part of the streaming, where I clean up everything. So this one is already on 24 frame. V3. Oh, sorry, I've set everything to 3. That's not good. Okay. So the DXP. What's your PC? I'll talk about my workstation a bit after. It's quite that's a big workstation. I've put a lot of, I will stay polite, but a big lot of money, a few months of work into it. So yeah, I have one Titan X, two GTX 1080, and the CPU is an Intel 7. I think it was the 5630 Extreme Edition. That was the highest end processor 2 years ago or stuff like this, on with 32 gigabyte of RAM, and I remember the motherboard is a ROG stuff, like also the highest end. I have 2 SSD and 2 stock stuff. So yeah, that's quite if you want to take a picture of it. Yeah, you have it here, and yeah, free GPUs. And honestly, since I'm working a lot for commission works on animations and video animations, the fact that I'm able to render them by myself, I think I have paid those graphic cards paid for themselves in a very short amount of time. Because when you see that, like, in a week of rendering stuff on a render farm, it will cost you like the price of two graphic cards. Just go buy them and do the render on your own and just plan it, because when you do a render on the render farm, generally you finished everything and put it to render. While when you're working on your own, it's easier to every night launch a render of a scene that has been validated or stuff like this. So yeah, that's really good investment. So here I will set a keyframe for everybody, and I will clean up afterward. Set a keyframe to here, set it to V3 and duplicate them. Okay. I will then check if I have any cleanup to be done. But yeah, as a professional, I mean, it's been a little more than 3 years now that I'm working home, and I work for myself, let's say. You have to invest in a computer. You have to have a real reliable engine, something fast, etc. If your workflow is slowed by your computer when you're making money based on the time you spent on your computer, that's a problem. And oftenly it's a pain to put a lot of money, but once you have a great computer, that's so much appreciated. Here I have a strange transition. Oh no, we have a slight slowdown. Well, I will refine this later on. I don't want to bother you with this. I will just check if I don't have this bug again, which I have. So I need to rotate this like that. Alright. this curve and this are okay. So let's see. So now using the dope sheet, I will see if I don't have any frame, and it seems I have outward. So I have this one where I didn't work, and that's the only one, and here which is the control chest. So for the chest, which is this one, I think, yeah. Yeah, this as VO. Yeah. I will. The video should be available in few hours after the streaming, and also I'm recording it, the full streaming on the computer, and I will re-record a director's cut of it, just showing the main steps and getting rid of all the things that were not really interesting. Which I don't think there is, because all I say is so interesting. But yeah, you have the idea. That was and now you are all laughing so loudly. Where is this chest bone? Head, okay. Chest, okay. But I don't have any. Or maybe it's on the quaternion. Okay. But who cares? The legs here also, I have an offset here, which is not good. Alright. So let's see those. That's a problem. So I need to rework. No, okay, that's fine. I have 3 handles here. X frame 24. I hope I haven't destroyed everything here. I don't think so. I will isolate one. Now the handles looks quite good. Yeah. Okay, fine. And this one is weird. I will get rid of it. Yeah. And here, yeah, I haven't stopped the cycle 2, so I only selected, set it to 3. So generally, I do the cleaning when I'm along the way. I don't do it at the very end, but I wanted to show you how I build the mirror animation and stuff like this. So that's why I do it now. Normally there will be stream after. Yeah, it will be available. Yeah, don't worry. Okay, control leg rotation. So this one also have a little problem here. Okay. So now on the dope sheet, I'm just looking that I have a keyframe on the first and on the last, which I have. So that's fine. Now I look at my animation with a lot of love, thinking I'm the best one. So just for your information, those stuff here are the placeholder for the game. So I know that if I have an attack animation to do, I have to reach at least this point. So for next streaming, when I will show how to make an attack animation, probably with this character on another one, from this position we'll have to attack here and get back here. So that's it. Okay, so the animation is done. Now I need to export it to in FBX so that Unity can easily handle it. So I will save, I will make sure I have a fake user not to lose it. That will be really problematic. I will go to File, Export FBX. Then in the main, I only use selected object only. I don't want to have everything. And in armature here, I will set only deform bones so that other bones will be ignored. And what it does is that it will bake all frame of the deformation bones. So you have to make sure that you're not, for example, using stretching bone like a spline IK without creating a separated chain with a copy transform stuff and parenting everything. So yeah, sounds really clear like this, but if we need an IK spline with during ringing, that's gonna be easy. So that's the only two options I use. I will click Export FBX, then go into the animation folder. So it's here, and I think it should be this one. And if I go to the, now I can see it in the, so this is a free stuff. It's an FBX viewer that you can get from Autodesk for free. Just search for FBX viewer, which is really handy. You can see if you have no bugs on your animation. So I think that's gonna be it for this first streaming. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I think I will repeat this experience later. I'm really happy I had control ring and uniform ring workflow right. Yeah. I will show you. Very simple. This is what I do on my Dragon Knight character, and on every advanced character I do is that I avoid using deformation bones in animation. I always have how to say a duplication of the rig, which I call target bones, and that drives the deformation bones. But yeah, I will talk about this later on in a more rig-oriented streaming. So as usual, I don't know when I will plan a new streaming because I think that's gonna be very, very soon, probably on Friday morning. But I need, to make everything fitting my commission work, and that's gonna be another animation, maybe an attack animation, so that we'll see how to work with a more how to say it, a more traditional way, with first blocking, then intermediate pose, and then polishing and stuff like this. So with the same the same process. Okay, so yeah, hope you've enjoyed it, and it's hard to say goodbye, but I will just stop the streaming now. Thank you, see you, and thank you all for being here for my first stream. I see you next time. Thank you.